Do you genuinely accept and acknowledge that the Dhamma has changed your lives? Are you saying that because it's the right thing to say? Do you see that in your own lives? Do you see the changes, the transformation? Not necessarily because other people say so, because that shouldn't be the test. You never know, they may be saying things just to get you on board, just to win brownie points, get you on their side. That's not right. That shouldn't be the test. You should know for yourselves if the Dhamma has changed your lives, has transformed your lives. And only you will know for yourself. Of course, other people might comment on how you have changed the way you talk, the way you walk, the way you eat, sleep, drink, and the way you conduct yourself. But you could be acting up. This could all be a pretense. So only really you know what change the Dhamma has had on your lives. Isn't that right? Only you will know for certain. So I have a question for you then. Considering the change that you say it has had on your lives, are you convinced that if you progress this path, if you walk on this journey, if you continue this practice, you will get to where you want to get to? Are you convinced? Well, there's a question mark there. First of all, where do you want to get to? To answer the question, yes, this is going to get me where I want to get to, you must know where you want to get to. Nibbana is just a word, is it not? Nibbana. See, it's just a word. Or one others say nirvana. It's just a word. I think of all the words there are in all the languages, there's one word that does not completely convey the meaning of what it's supposed to. And that one word is Nibbana. There is no other word that does not do justice to what meaning it's trying to convey. And that one word is Nibbana. Because no matter what we talk about, ladies and gentlemen, you know that the way we understand the world around us is through how we feel about things. Love is a feeling. Emotions, this is how we know the world around us. You know, you have a way, you feel something about everything. Everything you know of, you feel something about it. There's a way you feel about it. I say children, you have a way you feel about it. I say car, there's a way you feel about it. Your house, trees, birds, bees, there's a way you feel about it, isn't there? There's a way you feel about it. Sometimes you feel positive, sometimes you feel negative, sometimes you might just feel neutral. Because ultimately, whatever it is we talk about, the mind will only know Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana. This is all the mind knows. Right? So our frequent and regular listeners will know what I'm talking about. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana, that is all the mind knows. What Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana is Nibbana. What is the Rupa of Nibbana? Is it a Rupa Rupa, Shabda Rupa, Gandha Rupa, Rasa Rupa, Sparsha Rupa, or Dhamma Rupa? What Vedana is it? What Sanya it is? What Sankhara it is? What Vijnana is it? You can't give it Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana. Because if you were to do so, then Nibbana would be part of this world, would be part of our realm of existence. There's a way you feel about Nibbana, yes, but the way you feel about Nibbana is really not Nibbana. That's just how you feel about Nibbana. That's not what Nibbana is. There's a way you feel about it, but that's not what it is. It's like if there was a fish in a pond and there's a turtle who's an amphibious animal, walks into the pond and says, "Hey, Mr. Fish, guess where I've just been?" And the fish asks, "Where?" "I've just been to land." "You've been where?" "Land." "What's that?" Now the turtle can make every effort to describe what land is. And yes, the fish can come to some kind of idea, some kind of conception about what land is, but he's never going to know it until one day this fish leaves water for good and actually goes on to land. So really, we are all fish in this huge pond. One day we will get out of this water and we will get to land. That day, you will not be able to describe Nibbana, or rather land, in the words of a fish. Think about it. Do you think in the fish language there are words to describe land? Whatever language fish speak, okay? Whatever their vernacular is, whatever lexicon they have, the collection of words that they might have, do you think there are any words that describe land? Why would there be? There can't be any words in the language that fish would speak that describes land, because it's not somewhere they've ever gone. That's not somewhere they've ever been. It's like the final frontier. Star Trek. Watch that. You've never been there. You don't know what it is like. This is something completely new. Never in samsara have you treaded to Nibbana. So there can't be words in this language that we speak, that we talk, that actually describe what Nibbana is. But still, you can get a feeling about what it might be based on your progress in the Dhamma. Because we know that Nibbana is ragakke, dveshakke, mohakke. It is the extinguishing of raga, dvesha, moha, desire, aversion and delusion. It is a state of mind where you don't feel any kind of vexation, where there are no troubles in your mind. Body, yes, but not mental. There are no physical or there are no mental vexations, no mental torments, no frustrations, no anger, no resentment, nothing like that. Your mind is just free, not empty, free. Some people think the mind is empty when you attain Nibbana. If the mind was empty, how do you think the Buddha would have preached the Dhamma? He didn't start preaching the Dhamma before he attained Nibbana. He did that after he attained Nibbana. There are two types of Nibbana. One is the Nibbana you attain while you're still alive. Sopadisesa Nibbana. And then the other Nibbana you attain after you have entered Parinibbana, which is where your life has come to an end. Question, sir? So when I ask you, do you know that you're getting where you want to get to? You can't tell me that I do when if what you want to get to is something that you're going to experience after you have died. Because you don't know what that's going to be like. What is it going to be like after you're dead? Can you say that? Anyone had an after or death experience, near death? There are near death experiences, but not death experiences. Because you won't live to tell the tale. You're dead. So there are two types of Nibbana, or rather stages in attaining Nibbana. The first is where you become an Arahant, where all cankers and defilements in your mind have been eradicated once and for all. The causes for your vexations have been eradicated once and for all. The causes of your frustrations, mental agitations, annoyances have been eradicated once and for all. Now your mind is at peace, but your physical body is still subject to pain, torture, torment, all these things. Mugalan Maharatan Mahansi. You all know how he had to, what kind of death he had to face, right? Was beaten up by robbers, by a mob of robbers. He was beaten up into a pulp. And it was because of his supernatural powers he was able to put himself back together again and take himself to the Buddha for his permission to pass away. So physically, it's just non-stop. But after you enter Parinibbana, then that's the end of all of it. The thing is, after you've entered Parinibbana, there is no Rupa Vedana Sanya Sankara Vijnana that we can talk about. After you've entered Sopadisesa Nibbana, which is where you have become an Arahant, you still have a mind that arises and passes away. And whenever you have a mind that arises and passes away, the only things we can talk about are Rupa Vedana Sanya Sankara Vijnana. So some of this will be new to some of our new faces. Hopefully you have listened to some previous sermons before you came along. Rupa Vedana Sanya Sankara Vijnana, the basic building blocks of the mind. Rupa, a form, a sight, a sound, smell, taste, touch, or a mental object. Vedana, how you feel about it. Sanya, what label you give it. Sankara, the verbs that you associate with that object. And Vijnana, the final decision you make about it. Example, winnowing fan. It has a sight. If you tap it, it has a sound. If you want to taste it, well, go ahead. You can touch it. Not keen on that. But I suppose you could get all Rupa, Shabda Rupa, Gandha Rupa, Rasa Rupa, Pottappa Rupa, or Sparsha Rupa, right? All these from a winnowing fan. And when I say winnowing fan, then there's also the Dhamma Rupa, the concept of a winnowing fan. All this together, that's your Rupa. Vedana is knowing or feeling about it. How you feel about it. Sometimes it can be pleasurable, sometimes painful, sometimes equanimous. Neither good nor bad, neither pleasant nor unpleasant. Then there's the label that you give it. What's the label you give this? Winnowing fan. Yes? That's the label. Sanya. Sankara. What can you do with this? Cricket? But it's a winnowing fan, so you can fan yourself with it. As a monk, we use it as an object to cover our modesty. Sankara. And then Vijnana, the decision that you can make about this. The fact that after you've combined all of that together, you can come to a decision about it. Because this alone is not just the Sanya, it's not just the Rupa, it's not just the Vedana, not just the Sankara. Put all of them together. Now that's the decision you make about this is a winnowing fan. This is what you call it. This is what it looks like. This is what it smells like. This is what it tastes like. This is what you can do with it. All of that together, that is your Vijnana. So that was a quick stop, whistle stop tour of what Rupa Vedana Sanya Sankara Vijnana is. You'll have to go back and listen to the previous sermons to get more detail on that. Ultimately, this is all the mind can experience. So the thing is, Nibbana, you can't really state what Rupa Nibbana is, because it's the void of all Rupa. Nibbana is void of all Rupa. It's void of all Vedana, Sanya, Sankara and Vijnana. I'm talking about Anupadisesa Nibbana. After you have entered Parinibbana. It's because if I were to ask a question, right? The Buddha, he passed away, right? Parinibbana. He passed away. Where did he go? Nowhere. Nibbanti dhira yatayam padipo. When one has entered Nibbana, it is like a lamp that is blown out. Where did the fire go? Can you say where the fire went to? No. That question itself is meaningless. Where did the fire go? Where did the flame go? it's meaningless. Entering Nibbana is much the same, or Parinibbana I'm talking about. You can't say where that person went. All that happened was, there are no longer any causes to keep that person alive. There are no longer any causes to say, or for the mind to be. Of course, the body is still there. This is why, after the Buddha passed away, the last respects were paid by the kings and emperors and everyone else that got together and